Real quick update here as I'm working on this thing. I have, let's get blinded here for a second. Oh, 1,122 miles, and figured out another weak point here. On this truck, the lower rad hose passes down. You can kind of see it. Let me get a fucking flashlight. This is an important point here. Let's get this fucking junker over here and see what happens. Oh man, look at that. Oh yeah, you can see down there. See that piece of exhaust tubing and hose clamps? Apparently when I would accelerate, that hose would walk back into the balancer. And as you can see, the balancer cut a nice little eyelet in there. You can see it was rubbing it. And it's awesome. This is how this always works. Look at it, even cut through the paper nicely. Just for fun, we were having the dyno day, and my friend was like, man, put your truck on. I put my truck on, made 2 pulls, and this fucking lower hose blows through. So, but it was better than, obviously, he was like, oh, I feel bad, you know. I'm like, well, it's just a lower rad hose. The truck was running and idling fine. It made 644 horsepower to the tire on 12 pounds boost. Fucking retarded. And anyway, that lower hose is like a special order. It's a V8 Colorado lower hose. I'm sure they have a nice little clamp that holds it to the fan, which I don't have, so I don't care. It doesn't matter. So I bought another hose off Rock Auto. That's how I fixed it for now. I've still been driving it around with that, but it'll be nice to have the regular hose back on the bottom and just zip tie it to the fan. The other thing I'm working on is I am going to put, since I'm out of fuel, that's another Walbro 450 fuel pump in there. I have a 450 in the tank now and 80 pounders. And on my dyno at least, with this setup, going into the stock return rails, I can make about 630, 640 on E85, and I can't get any lower than like a 12.0 air fuel. So I'm basically out of pump, not out of injector. And then on mostly gas, which I had like a 35% ethanol content, I made 735 just out of gas. So figure if I had no ethanol, maybe I could do 750, 760. Anyway, what I want to do is I got like a sub wiring kit. It's nice, it comes with everything you need. And then I got a 50 amp breaker, big ass relay, depending on how I want to wire all this shit. Another 450 with install kit. So I'm going to take the stock basket back out and put dual 450s in and see how that works out. The main thing with that is, with both pumps running at once, like at idle, this regulator might not be big enough to return all the fuel. So you might get a situation where this is supposed to be 58. I may have like 100 at idle. And I mean, I did 2 400s in my 2500 truck. And I never honestly checked the fuel pressure, so who the hell knows? It might have been 100 psi. I just tuned around it, but the fuel table looks fine, so we will see. I'd rather just run both at the same time. I'll just leave everything apart and run both pumps and see what it is at idle. And if it's too high, obviously I'll stage them. I'll have the ECU turn on a pump at like 5 pounds. But I'm curious to see how far I can go with 80s on straight ethanol with the fuel pressure locked, see how much more I can make. Obviously it'll be safer, and then on gas I can, you know, really push the shit out of it. It'll be neat to see if you can just slam 2 pumps in the tank and everything else. And so that's my next experiment for this, is just to exercise that turbo a little bit more and try to make 8 and change would be a neat goal on stock bottom end, and see how that works and see how all the fuel pump stuff works out. Because ironically enough, if 2 400s can make a shitload of power, they're really cheap. It's only $200 for 2 400 LPH pumps. You just have to, you know, wire them and put them in get a $5, I haven't gotten that yet, a $5 Y fitting from Liquid Iron Industries. I've used them before. Little $5 5/16 Y fitting that goes right on those hoses, so you can wire them in the tank easy. But that's the update for now, 1100 and change. So far I just had that one inline fuse holder go bad, and this stupid radiator hose ripped through under my own damn fault. While accelerating, it rubs the balancer and cuts through it, you know. Shit you learn, you drive it on the street. Other than that, still no serious issues with 6 and change to the tire for 1,100 miles. Driving in the rain and beating the shit out of it. Pump gas, ethanol, all mixing it all over the place, but that's a nice update for the truck. And we'll see how the dual fuel pumps and everything goes.